Don't forget to like and subscribe, and share your opinion down below. Am I the idiot for refusing to help out my dad now he's fallen on hard times? Me, 23F, and my sister, Alice, 19F, grew up with divorced parents, 54F and 57M. Neither of us have ever lived full time with my dad. My dad both earned significantly more than my mum when we were growing up and still underpay child support. He made it clear that he liked functionally being single with a good wage. We didn't have bedrooms in his house and were often told to sleep on the sofa. I'd understand all of this if he was poor, but he wasn't. I, as the eldest daughter, was often used as the gopher between them and knew all this information from a young age. My dad would brag about his behavior to my mum and vice versa. In 2018, our mum kicked both of us out to move to Spain with our stepdad. I went to university. My sister went to live with our dad. He was all thrilled about Alice moving in and said that he was excited to finally be given the opportunity to parent one of us. My sister didn't want to go to school and he made her get a job. Fair enough. She was paying rent. She's lactose intolerant and he would throw the food she bought in the bin and tell her she was a waste of space. He told her he regretted having us both and wished he'd never bothered to be a father and we'd never been born. Alice got a boyfriend and moved away in February 2020. I graduated last May, having worked part-time during my degree, while job roles were getting sparse. I was applying for anything. I was panicking as well. I had an emergency fund, it wasn't a big one, and I was coming to the end of my tenancy and employment, as I was employed by my uni. I was terrified of being made homeless and devolved into having daily panic attacks. Living with my mum wasn't an option, especially with her living abroad. I called my dad and begged him to consider taking me in. He laughed at me down the phone, said he'd gotten rid of Alice after she'd invaded his life and almost ruined his relationship with his current girlfriend. He said he didn't want me around, but out of the goodness of his heart, he'd take me in if I got a job, but also paid him £800 a month for the privilege of staying in his spare bedroom. Rent in the house I was living in at the time was £350. I hung up sobbing. In the end it all worked out okay because I found a super good job, albeit in a non-ideal location, that pays me very well. Now my dad has fallen on hard times. His girlfriend has been made jobless because the company she works for has been found to be committing fraud and is being investigated. He's been on furlough and without her can't afford the mortgage. He rang me the other day begging for me to move in with him to help cover his bills. Reader, I can't lie, I laughed at him. I told him that I didn't want to invade his life despite being his biological kid, and maybe he should use some of that magical child support he didn't spend on us on his mortgage. Now my extended family are calling me an asshole and that I should at least pay an allowance to him now I earned good money to help him out. Not the idiot, screw him. Leave him to the consequences of his life and choices he's made. He burned those bridges and now has to deal with the fallout. Not the idiot. He has not really been a father to you. He has not really added anything positively meaningful to your life. He is reaching out to you in pure desperation and would simply go back to his old ways as soon as he gets on his feet. It's good to hear that things are okay for you. Take care of yourself. Not the idiot. He didn't financially support you even when it was his legal responsibility to do so, and he has chosen to have no relationship with you since then. He cannot insist on using you for money now. You don't owe him a damn thing. Am I the idiot for not letting my brother and his family come live with me? My 43 meters brother 38 meters and I have not had a good relationship in almost 20 years. My brother is a recovering addict and prior to getting clean, did some really terrible things to me that I have not and cannot forgive him for. He stole money that I needed to get my kids formula and diapers, stole my credit card and charged almost $6,000 in online gambling and stole my car. My wife and I let him stay with us prior to his last stint in jail and he brought random women into our home, and my wife caught him using drugs in our guest room, so I threw him out. I have been no contact ever since. 5 years ago, my brother got clean. And while I am very happy for him, I still do not want a relationship. Despite him trying repeatedly to get me to talk to him, I have refused all of his attempts at contact. Last week my mother called and said that my brother and his wife and their baby, 6 months old, were getting kicked out of her parents' house for not paying rent. My mother asked if he could stay with us and I told her no. She begged and pleaded with me that the baby would be homeless and asked how I could do that to my own nephew. I discussed it with my wife, and she said that his wife and baby could stay with us for 30 days while he found them a place to live, but he is not welcomed in our home. I agreed and told my mother that that was all we were willing to offer him. She gave my sister-in-law's phone number and I called her and made the offer that her and baby could stay for 30 days but that my brother was not allowed near my home. Sister-in-law then started yelling about how I cannot make limits on this and family should help family and I need to let the past be in the past. I disagreed and told her that either she and the baby could take the 30 days or find someone else to take them in. She refused and said that I was trying to tear her family apart. My mother is furious with me and is demanding I apologize and let my brother and his family come stay with me. She claims that I am the only one who has the room, and I do, but I refuse to allow my brother in my house. Am I the idiot for not letting them live with me? Not the idiot. If your mother can't take them in because she doesn't have room, then maybe she could stay with you and her son and his family can stay at her house. My guess is she wouldn't trust him not to sell her furniture. Brother's wife's own parents got fed up with their crap. That does not bode well for anyone else who is stupid enough to let them stay with them. Not the idiot. Not the idiot. Stay strong and don't let them guilt you into this. I hate the way those of us who are functional are expected to be endlessly forgiving and to pick up the pieces for the train wrecks in our lives. Note to that. I'm glad your wife supports you, too, rather than adding to the chorus trying to make you feel guilty. Am I the idiot for booting out my brother-in-law after he disregarded our agreement? I am more than willing to admit that I am an extreme control freak when it comes to my household and my rules. I'm not mean, by any means, but under my roof my rules are to be followed and if not, suffer the consequence. That's on you. With that said though, I'm usually pretty generous in helping people in need. But again, follow my rules while under my roof. I'm 34F. My husband's brother, Jim, doesn't make the best decisions when it comes to women and it's landed him in rough patches multiple times. Losing his house, his income, job, etc. I won't go into detail about his last encounter but just know it wasn't pretty and left him with practically nothing. Now, my brother-in-law is a very genuine guy. Bad decision maker? Yes. But great guy otherwise. He gets taken advantage of a lot and most could argue that it's because he simply doesn't learn and is far too trusting. But long story short, after his last fling my husband and I opened our doors and welcomed him in under one condition. He was not to bring women to our home because we know his track record of trashy, thieving women. He agreed. All has been well for months. He did start seeing a girl he works with whom has 2 children. I've met her by chance when I went to pick up my house keys one day from my brother-in-law while he was at work. Very quiet girl but pleasant for the 5 minutes I saw her. Brother-in-law asks me later in the evening how I liked her. I told him the truth. I thought she was pleasant, but I don't know enough to hold an accurate judgment. He did not ask if he could bring her over. It was never discussed. The following day I return home and who is sitting on my couch? The woman he is seeing. The worst part? My brother-in-law wasn't even home. So, I call her out. She says he gave her permission to come over and let herself in. I told her to leave. She says oh, no thank you. I will just wait. And goes back to playing her phone. I call my husband, explain, and we proceed to call brother-in-law on two-way. He doesn't answer. Shows up 10 minutes later and greets his girlfriend. My husband pulls in immediately afterwards and he is livid. I know how he gets so I step in and say since she is here, she can help you pack your belongings. A pre-made convo between hubby and I. Brother-in-law is taken back and asks what I'm talking about. I explain he went against our agreement. He tries making excuses. You said she was pleasant. I explain I had also mentioned I couldn't make accurate judgment based off 5 minutes. He leaves with all his stuff. Later on, we get phone calls stating that I'm an arrogant piece of crap control freak who needs to be knocked down a few pegs. Am I the idiot? Edit to add, forgot to say that he paid $250 a month for the bedroom we offered him and covered his own food cost. He was with us for 3 months. No lease, as I own the home. Not the idiot. The agreement was clear. He ignored it because he decided he didn't want to. He feigned surprise when you didn't back down immediately and let him have his way. When all of that failed, he resorted to name calling and nastiness. Not the idiot and good riddance. Not the idiot who set rules and boundaries that were not followed. If he had asked, it may have been a different story, but he didn't. Not only that, WTF did she not leave when you asked her to? You did the right thing as if you let this slide. Who knows what kind of situation you would be walking into in the future. Not the idiot at all. You were all perfectly clear on this one boundary and he chose to stomp all over it. Also, he didn't just bring her there, he gave her the key and had her let herself in to wait for him. If I came home to this stranger sitting alone in my home, I would have lost my damn mind. And the whole "oh, no thank you, I will just wait" business would have been met with threats to call the police. Am I the idiot for asking my uncle to walk me down the aisle instead of my mom? I know the title sounds weird, I will explain my situation as best as I can. My 27F mom, 42F, got pregnant with me when she was 14. She chose to keep me. Growing up, my mom kind of just ignored me. She wanted to be a normal teenager, not a mother, so she just let my grandparents take care of me. They only really did the necessities, as they weren't too happy at having a pregnant teenager and it made them resent me. The only person who ever seemed to care about me was my uncle, 40M, 13M when I was born. He read me to sleep, gave me snacks, calmed me down when I woke up crying at night. He basically raised me. He was outed when he was 16. My grandparent didn't kick him out because they didn't want to damage their reputation. I guess we bonded more because we were both outcasts from our family. They tolerated us at best. My uncle moved out as soon as he turned 18. I still got to see him because my mom dumped me with him almost daily so she could go out not have to pay for childcare. My uncle continued to raise and care for me. I don't see him as my uncle. I see him as my dad. My mom hated my bio dad, 41M, for getting her pregnant. She cut all contact with him and never told him that she was pregnant or that he had a kid. She never told me anything about him and basically told me I didn't have a dad. I left home at 18 and found him a year later. He had a family, wife, and a pair of twins. They were shocked to find out that he had an adult kid. He was rightfully pissed at my mom. While we bonded, I never really saw him as my dad. He understood that. Last month my long-term boyfriend proposed to me. I was ecstatic. Yesterday my mom came to visit. She congratulated me, and we started talking about wedding stuff. When the subject of my ceremony came up, I mentioned that I don't really want my bio dad to walk me down the aisle. Before I could say anything, my mom piped up and suggested that she walk me down the aisle. I calmed her down and told her that I actually was going to ask my uncle to walk me down the aisle. This pissed her off. She demanded to know why. She didn't like it when I said that he had basically raised me and was the only family member to give a crap about me growing up. She gave me a speech about how she was a teen mom and that we reconnected when I got older and that I couldn't blame her for wanting a normal childhood. I yelled at her about how her selfish choices robbed me of a normal childhood. Our yelling woke up my fiance. He's working night shifts right now. He asked my mom to leave and told her that we both needed to calm down. After she left, he asked if I was okay. I explained everything to him. He 100% agreed that my uncle should walk me down the aisle. My fiance isn't the biggest fan of my family. My uncle is the only one he's close with. I know having your uncle give you away isn't traditional, but neither is your mother giving you away. However, I'm worried that I'm being a bridezilla with the whole I want my wedding my way. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. It's your wedding. Select whoever you want to walk you down the aisle. After all, your mom would be a non-traditional selection as well. Not the idiot, it's your wedding. Have whoever you want walk you down the aisle as long as you're happy. And of course, your fiance doesn't mind, which he doesn't, so stiff anyone else who doesn't agree. Not the idiot. Being a teen mum doesn't give her a pass to just not be a mother. I was a teen mum as are many other women and they stepped up and took care of their kids.